Okay, in this video we're going to look at solving simultaneous equations via elimination. Now this method is generally used when both equations are in this kind of form here, ax plus by equals d. As you can see down here, these are all in these forms. Now obviously you've got two equations in each question and you have to solve those simultaneously via elimination. Now elimination means that you're eliminating a variable. So let's just have a look at a few examples here. Let's look at A first of all. What you're trying to do is identify the same variable, the same quantity. Now looking at this, we've got the same quantity of y. And in order to eliminate that, I've got two positive numbers. So they are the same sign. Now when they're the same sign, we subtract the equation. So I would probably subtract equation 2 away from equation 1 or vice versa. Looking at B, you've got the same quantity of the x's. Look, only one of them is negative and one of them is positive. So actually, because they're opposite signs, we end up adding the two equations together, which eliminates x. Over here in C and in D, we don't have the same quantities. So we're going to have to do something to each of those equations. For example, on this one, I might multiply this whole equation by 2 to get me the same quantity of y. That means that I'll have negative 2y here and negative 2y here. As they are the same sign as each other, I'm going to subtract those equations from each other. Similarly with D, let's suppose I was going to eliminate the y's. I'd multiply equation 1 by 3 and equation 2 by 2, which gives me the quantity of 6y there. Obviously, one is positive, one is negative. Opposite signs means I would add the equations together to eliminate that variable. So in the purple box, I've got my summary that works for elimination. Now let's go through some examples. I'm going to solve the following simultaneous equations. So let's start with this one. I'm going to call this one equation 1 and this one equation 2. I have the same quantity of y, only they're opposite signs. Opposite signs, remember, we add the two equations together. So in my working, I'm going to do equation 1, add equation 2. So adding those together gives me x plus 3x is 4x. This is eliminated and I then get 6 plus 10, which is 16. Solving gives me 16 divided by 4, which is 4. So I found the x value. Now don't forget you need to find the y as well. So I'm going to sub x equals 4 into the first equation, for example. Let me just write that into 1, and I'm going to solve for y. So let's do that. We've got 4 plus y equals 6. Therefore, subtracting 4 from 6 leaves me with positive 2. So y is 2. Don't forget to verify your solution. Check that x equals 4 and y equals 2 fits into this equation here. And don't forget to summarize that your actual answer is a coordinate for 2. Moving on to my second example, let's have a look. So label this one equation 1 and this one equation 2. Always label first. Right, let's have a look. What have we got? We've got no quantities the same here. However, I've got a single here, so I can multiply all of equation 1 by 2. Okay, so I'm doubling equation 1. That's going to give me a new equation. So let's just double that whole equation first. That's going to give me 2y minus 6x equals 2. And I'm going to call that equation 3. I'm now focusing just on equation 2 and equation 3, and as you can see, I've got the same quantity of y. Now, when we have the same signs as each other, I'm going to subtract one equation from the other. So let's have a look at equation 2, take away equation 3. Okay, so I'm showing my working on the right. So let's do that. So equation 2, so I've got 2 take away 2y. Eliminates. 5 minus 6 is the same as adding, so I get 11x on the left, and 13 take away 2 gives me 11. So I can solve that now by doing 11 divided by 11, giving me x equals 1. Now let's sub x equals 1 into equation 1, for example, and that will then allow me to find the y part of the solution. So let's write down equation 1. Y minus 3 times x, well x is 1, equals 1. Let's work that out. We've got y minus 3 equals 1. Solving means bringing that 3 over, so I'm adding 3, giving me y equals 4. Don't forget verify, check by subbing in. Look, 4 minus 3 equals 1, so it works. Left hand side equals right hand side. And finally, summarize your solution in a coordinate, like so. My final example, again, I'm probably going to eliminate the y quantity, so let's have a look at what I have to do to eliminate that. I'm going to multiply all of equation 1 by 3, so equation 1 I'm going to multiply by 3, and then I'm going to multiply equation 2 by 2. And that will give me the quantity of 6y there. So let's do that. So times by 3. So I've got 9x plus 6y equals 18, and we'll label that equation 3. And then with the second equation, I'm doubling all of those, so I get 10x plus 6y equals 22, and I'm going to call that equation 4. Now let's look at eliminating that y. I've got the same sign, so I'm going to subtract one equation from the other. So I'm probably going to take equation 4 away, 3 away from 4. 4 take 3. All right, so let's do that. So we'll start here. 10x take 9x is just 1x. That's eliminated, and then I've got 22 minus 18 leaves me with 4. So I'm left with this solution, x equals 4. Again, let's sub x equals 4 into, I always use the first equation, but you can use either. I'm going to go into equation 1. Let's do that. So I've got 3 lots of x, which is 4, plus 2y equals 6. 3 times 4 is 12, plus the 2y equals 6. Taking over the 12 from that gives me minus 6, and then dividing by 2, negative 6 divided by 2, leaves me with a solution y equals negative 3. Again, check that works by subbing in when x equals 4 and y equals minus 2. Check it in the bottom equation or in the top. And don't forget, once it's verified, write your solution as a coordinate 4, not minus 3.